community for a long time to come. I'm going to invite up Pat Kearney and Associates. It's the biggest little company you may not have heard of, but boy, they do great stuff. They're a mechanical, plumbing, electrical contracting company specializing on return on investment, energy, and conservation projects. They're in on some big projects. For instance, when you have a client like Broward Health and do their work in their hospitals, their plumbing and contracting and stuff, that's a nice client to have. Also, another nice client to have around here is the Broward Sheriff's Office. And many in Broward, Miami, Florida, and around the country. Pat, thank you so much for being our gold sponsor. We really appreciate it.
I got crib notes just in case I get lost. When my good friend David Singer asked me to sponsor this lunch, I jumped at the opportunity. And then a week later, he dropped a bombshell on me that I would have to get up here in front of you all and introduce the speaker. And it reminded me of a statistic that the #1 fear of most Americans is public speaking. You know what #2 is? Death. So as the great Jerry Seinfeld said, most of us would rather be in the casket than given the eulogy. Something else that struck me funny was that they were going to ask the only Republican in the room to introduce a very prominent Democrat. But I'm sorry, I see Charles Verner over there. Well, Charles is a closet Republican. I'm sorry, Charles, I didn't mean to out you. I did hear some groans from this side of the room. No, I used to be one of you. I'm a recovering Democrat. I'm on a 12-step program. I've got to watch Fox News 4 hours a day. One of those hours has to be the O'Reilly factor. All kidding aside, I'm honored to be here and I'm honored to do this. I actually Googled all the information on Congresswoman Frankel, so I hope it's correct. Oh, and by the way, don't ever Google yourself. I thought I was so much cooler than I really am. Congresswoman Frankel was a graduate of Boston University. She has her law degree from George Washington University, which makes her Georgetown. Makes her a very smart person. Yes. Oh, it's down here. I should be reading it. Florida House of Representatives from 1987 to 2003. She was the mayor of Palm Beach in 2000. West Palm Beach. You picked the wrong guy, David. You don't ask the pipe fitter to come up. You should got one of these attorneys. Mayor of West Palm Beach from 2003 to 2011, and now is currently in the U.S. House of Representatives. Hope I got that right. So it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Congresswoman Lois Frankel.
Thank you for that Google introduction. So great to be here. And back in paradise. And listen, Pat, you know what? Cancer knows no party, right? I agree. Anyway, thank you for your sponsorship of this important luncheon. And David, I know I speak for everyone to thank you for your years of dedication. Does he have your enthusiasm is contagious. But I do have a charge. I have a charge against you. And I know this when I hear this, okay? But I charge you with a severe New York accent. Yeah. Bronx. Okay, I'm half Bronx, half Brooklyn. Anyway, it is really great to be with you today. And I know our Honorable Chair, Mike Sachs, agrees with me that the jail and bail we are talking about today is for a good cause. And I bring greetings from Ted Deutsch, who's my co-chair, our co-co-chair. You're going to hear him next week. and next month, and I'm confident he's staying out of trouble today, I hope. I just want to let you know that I am an ardent fan of the American Cancer Society and have a long history of both professionally and personally. In my pre-political life, I actually served on the board of directors of the Palm Beach County chapter. And David, I don't know if you knew this, but about 25 years ago, I chaired many of the jail and bail events in my hometown of West Palm Beach. And Jim Waldman, thank you for that, talking about advocacy. And I have a story about ACS advocacy. When I was in the state legislature, early 90s, a lobbyist for the American Lung Association walked into my office, and she brought with her a mug, and on the mug was a picture, a cartoon character of Camel Joe. Do you remember that? And she said to me, "Did you know that the tobacco industry is targeting our children? And you can go any place in this state, a kid can go into almost any retail store where they sell cigarettes in this state and buy a pack of cigarettes. So we really need to strengthen the laws." And I proposed a law that would require anybody who sold cigarettes to have a license, so that if they got caught selling to kids, they would lose their license, their ability to sell cigarettes. And I said, well, that sounds like a no-brainer. I said, but I have to prove this to the public. So I borrowed my son's video camera. But this is way before. This is the early 90s. We didn't have the little iPhones, and I went all over this state. And I would borrow kids as young as 12 years old. I don't know if I was doing anything illegal, Mike, but don't tell me.
I didn't hear a thing.
But I borrowed young kids, and I would go up. I won't say that it could be a. I'm trying not to say the name of a place, but it could be a,
Convenience store.
It could be a convenience store, a drug store even. I would take the video camera, and I would put it on, and I give the kid like a $20 bill, and I say, go in there and buy me a carton of cigarettes. And I will tell you, there was not one store in the entire state that turned us down. And I went back to Tallahassee with a huge duffel bag of these cigarettes and a videotape. And I said, I have the proof, I'm gonna get this legislation passed. Well, let me tell you what happened, as you could probably imagine, and I'm sure Jim, from his days in the legislature, will agree. The tobacco industry and the retail industry hired almost 100 lobbyists, high-paid lobbyists, to kill this bill. And let me tell you who passed it. The volunteers from the Lung Association, from the American Cancer Society, they came out in mass forces, and we actually, in a special session, passed the legislation. And to me, that's always been an example of how, and these were volunteers mostly, overcame big money, to take care of our kids. So I wanted to just, I don't know if any of you were around back then, but thank you to ACS for that. But even more important to me is my personal experience with the American Cancer Society. In 1992, when my mother woke up from her hospital bed in Miami from a double mastectomy for breast cancer, there was a person on each side of her bed. One person was me, and on the other side was a total stranger, a volunteer from the American Cancer Society Reach to Recovery program. And months later, my mother told me that it was that compassionate volunteer who guided her through her recovery that was more important to her than any doctor she had dealt with. My mom was widowed at the time. This is 1992. She went on to remarry and live a full, joyful life. She turns 90 this summer. So my mother thanks the American Cancer Society, and I, of course, do too. So, listen, I'm from Washington. Of course, I have to bring you some good news, right?
Please.
All right. Well, we'll start with the good news. You know, the federal government has been in the fight for Americans to live longer and healthier lives as far back as 1887. And that was with really the beginning of the National Institutes of Health. And since that time, it's been responsible for research and the funding of research that has led to enormous breakthroughs in all aspects of health, both cancer care as well as other health issues. The NIH invests nearly $30.3 billion annually in medical research for Americans here in this country. About almost $5 billion of that is for cancer. And 80% of the NIH money is awarded through almost 50,000 competitive grants to more than 300,000 researchers at more than 2,500 universities, medical schools, and other research institutions in every state and also around the world. Florida's share is $476 million. And again, that's for all health issues, not for just for cancer. And it's distributed to many